What's up, everyone? True Techno Gamer here, back at it. Please like, subscribe to the channel. I really appreciate the growth that the channel has been doing. Thanks to you guys, comments, views is really awesome to see. So you guys are motivating me. Before the 2024 TV market really kicks off and a lot of these new TVs are going to be available, I wanted to kind of squeeze in one more video, somewhat as a follow-up to my previous video when I was talking about kind of the state of things in the TV market in 2024. For this one, I want to explore a little bit more of this thought of OLED potentially dying, right? There's a lot of discussion, if you follow TVs, that we could be kind of seeing the beginning of the end of OLED, right? That OLED could go the way of plasma roughly 10 years ago. So there's something to be said for that. Some of that may be hyperbole, sure, but I'm going to kind of dig into that a little bit more. I think my initial video before may have given off some impression in certain things that people took away things that may or may not be true, or at least you guys don't have the full story to. So we're going to go into that here and really kind of lay the land out for the new TV year, right, for 2024. Exciting things to come. Let's check it out. So just to reset the stage here, I talked before about how OLED was generally considered the superior technology since its release 11 years ago. LG has been dominating they were the only OLED the only OLED manufacturer in town for a while. Sony and Samsung now have their QD OLEDs, which are generally considered to be slightly superior to LG's RGB OLED. So needless to say, though, OLED has been superior. Some people may think, well, I showed some comparisons in that video, but maybe the difference isn't as big, or OLED generally looks darker. The narrative has been that OLED can't get quite as bright. That's part of what we're seeing now, right? We're seeing that mini LED now, with the advent of mini LED, you can get pretty good, precise local dimming with the size of mini LEDs being that much smaller than previous LEDs. We're seeing the zone count, so the number of mini LED zones are going up. LEDs typically used to be maybe a couple dozen zones, maybe 100 zones or so. With mini LEDs, we're starting to see that number go up into the thousands. And then of course you have TCL and Hisense. I've talked about them. They're trying to disrupt the industry quite a bit. For 2024, they are really jumping the gun, right? To put this in perspective, TCL and Hisense, they're flagship TVs in 2023. So TCL, their flagship QM8 TV topped out at about 1,500 nits. Hisense was, I think, closer to 2,000 nits at max. I might have that inverted, but you get the idea. So 1,500 to 2,000 nits was their peak for their flagships. Now, for 2024, TCL is touting a new TV that will be able to push well beyond 5,000 nits. And brightness, and Hisense is taking that even further with their top spec 110-inch mini LED TV that will be able to push 40,000 mini LED zones, local dimming zones, and 10,000 nits. So like I said, Hisense this year was maybe around 2,000 nits, and now they're in 1 year trying to say that they're able to push up to 10,000 nits. And that's a lot of numbers, and it sounds big. But the question is, what does that really mean? What would that really amount to? What would that actually look like in terms of picture? How would that will compare, right, to their contemporaries, some premium brand stuff from Samsung, Sony, etc. Will that really change the narrative in terms of the overall image quality between OLED and LED, right? So I submit that the answer to that is no. Mini LED and LEDs in general fundamentally will not be able to equal OLED. OLED is pixel level dimming control. Each pixel is self-lit. So that would be kind of the equivalent of thinking about the number of zones as equaling the number of pixels. So for a 4K screen, we're talking over 8 million pixels. So come talk to me when there is a mini LED that has over 8 million dimming zones, right? That would be the equivalent of that. That won't happen because by the time you get to that point, it will be prohibitively expensive to actually manufacture a mini LED with that many zones, and you pretty much are basically at OLED or kind of even where micro LED is going, and I already talked about that. So micro LED already has that covered. In the meantime, yeah, we might get tens of thousands of, maybe even 100,000, dimming zones, and that'll be great, but it still won't equal OLED. So let's put this all in perspective here. When I talk about how OLED is generally the dominant technology and the dominant picture quality, what am I really saying with that? I want to show you guys exactly what I mean by that. Let's take a look. All right, guys. So I'm going to take you again on a journey looking at some web pages that I think you might find helpful and find useful. And it's really going to illustrate what I mean in terms of OLED's dominance over the last 10 plus years, okay? So let's take a look at this website. This website is called Artings. Some people pronounce it Ratings because it kind of looks like that, right? But it's technically Artings. I think they're out of Europe. And they've been doing very, very extensive TV reviews. They review a lot of different products that you see here, but their TV reviews are kind of, I think, what put them on the map. Really, really comprehensive stuff. This is probably the best objective reviews you'll ever find for all of the TVs out there. Objective. So they have extensive measurements, extensive categories. They have a really comprehensive test suite that they update regularly as technologies evolve and things come online. They really update this stuff. Just to give you an idea of what that looks like real quick. Okay, so here's the LG G3 OLED. They have this mixed usage, which is kind of like think about it as the overall combination review. You see they have a score for TV, quality, sports viewing, video games, HDR, movies and gaming are separate, and then as a PC monitor as well. I mean, they really go in. Here's the table of contents. They have intro. If you kind of go down, they give you an overview. They give you pros and cons. They have notes here about all of the updates that they've done because they continue to update. They update their test suite, they update their lab. It's really, really awesome. They have all the details. Pricing, you have links directly here to Amazon. They have different sizes of that particular model that you can get. They have this is a great thing to see the comparisons. They give you a nice summary of comparing it to, similar TVs. So the G3 is LG's flagship OLED. The C3 is the one beneath that. So how does that compare? The S95C is Samsung's flagship OLED, right? And then Samsung's, mid-range OLED, and then Sony's flagship OLED. So good, things there. They even can show you more. They have a video review for a lot of things, so you can see the stuff in action. Style, even the stand, the back, thickness, etc., etc. Of course, picture quality, contrast, which OLED is infinite, so it's a 10 out of 10 all the time. There's pretty much infinite contrast with OLED. Blooming control, there is no blooming with OLED because it's pixel level. So once again, lighting zones. These are kind of things for LED. Contrast, dark game mode. It goes in. Here are the brightness ratings. So they give you actual objective ratings for HDR brightness, both in regular HDR mode and in game mode. Sometimes it's different, as you see here. Game modes tend to actually reduce some of the settings, so they kind of separated this out. But you can see here, essentially, these are test cases they have on the top here. There are 3 different ones, so you can kind of see what the brightness can be in a real world. And the G3 is hitting 1,000 nits. That's what that is, 1,000 nits, essentially. Then they have all the peak viewing and sustained viewing for the different modes here. So the peak, as you see for the G3, is actually up to 1,400 nits, 10% window, etc., etc. Great notes here. I mean, this really goes in. This is the picture quality, EOTF tracking about how accurate it is, basically how accurate the curve is for the tone mapping, which is great to see. This is SDR ratings, which again, you expect these numbers to be lower. Color, gamut, volume. I talked about how QD OLED has a much higher color volume rating. You see that QD OLED here is usually closer to 9, stuff like that. Pre-calibration numbers, post-calibration numbers, gray uniformity, viewing angle, reflection handling. I mean, everything you can think of. Gradients, low quality smoothing, upscaling performance from everything from DVD, 480p all the way up to 4K. They show the pixel structure, the response time, the flickering, how the black frame insertion works, stutter, 24p, that's movie, speed, judder, variable refresh rate for games and different resolutions that it supports, input lag for games, the full list of every supported resolution out there. I mean, PS5 compatibility, Xbox compatibility, the input specifications are all the things that it supports. I mean, guys, this is an awesome site. I love it. I just had to go through at least to show you guys how comprehensive this is. Sound quality, of course, smart features. So, the Web OS and LG's case or the Google TV, they rate that and kind of go into details. The apps and features, what's offered. The remote control, what does that give you? I mean, retailers, again, deals, awesome website. I had to go through all of that just to show you guys. Now, they do that for every TV. What I want to show you here, though, is that they have a tool here and they have a table, which is what I selected here. If you go to this table, what it shows you is basically a table view of all of their reviews for TVs. And you can sort them by these different criteria. They show you the test methodology. Like I said, they keep updating that. And then there's like a filter thing here that you can use. So they filter it now based on like the latest test methodology, but they have, TVs in their database that goes back to 2013 or something around there. So you can limit things you want to see or whatever. So real quickly, this is a great thing. I'm going to link it in the thing. Definitely check it out if you're interested in TVs and reviews. And, this is the place to go for sure. Now go to the mixed usage, which again is the closest thing they have to like their overall view, right? For everything, TV, sports, video games, right? And I'm gonna sort it, and I'm gonna put the highest rated TV at top. So the highest rated TV in their entire history at this point is the Sony A95L OLED from 2023, which I have called out before as being pretty much the top TV, right? That's the king of TV. That TV won the shootout in 2023, beat everything else, et cetera, et cetera. So you can look at the details here and see that. Number 2 on this list is LG's G3 OLED, that WRGB. So again, QD OLED versus WRGB OLED is it's not leagues apart at all. Most people probably wouldn't be able to tell the difference at all for most of the real world content that we would look at today, at least. And you see that it's right behind there. Right, it's the second highest rated OLED in history. And then Samsung's flagship S95, which is a QD OLED, was rated a little bit lower than even LG's OLED. You can see that. Now, what I really want to point out here, though, okay, I'm going to look down this list, and it's sorted. Remember, so this is the tops rated, and it's going down. I'm going to go down this list with you guys, and let's see how many TVs are on this list before we actually find an LED or LCD model. Okay, because you can see quickly the top 3 TVs are clearly OLEDs, 2 QD OLEDs, and LG's flagship OLED. Clearly. Now let's keep going down. So how many OLEDs do we have until we get to a LED? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Okay. We're here at the, right, Samsung OLED, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, and at number 20 is Sony's X95L, which is their flagship mini LED for 2023. So literally number 20 on the list. So the first top 19 TVs that is in terms of the highest rated TVs in their history, okay, are OLEDs. And then you have Sony's LCD or LED, and then you have Hisense LED right beneath that, another Sony LED, and then another Hisense LED. So clear to see, again, who's the top performers in LED world as well. And then you have another OLED. So when I say OLED has been dominating, it's not really close, guys. All right. Now, another thing I wanted to show. So I talked about the pricing of OLED in my previous video and how OLED was, something that was so expensive. And I showed how it was, several times more expensive, for example, to get an OLED at the ultra large, 100-inch class level for sure. But I didn't tell the full story. So I want you guys to understand something. Getting a TV that's 98 inches in general from almost every manufacturer out there, except for TCL and Hisense, is still a pretty expensive endeavor. Right? If you wanted to get a 98, 100-inch, that level class, whether it's mini LED or LED, OLED, whatever, it's going to be expensive. Most cases, probably even above 10 grand, right? 5 figures. TCL and Hisense are disrupted and changed the market by offering 100 inches, not the highest quality 100 inches, but 100 inches that's still really good quality for as low as $2,000, $3,000, $5,000 and under. That's disruptive. But I wanted to make it clear, this isn't just about OLED versus LED. Many LEDs that are at 98 inches are still super expensive, and I want to show that here. So this is a picture of Samsung's, I have a filter right now for 98 inches. You see this here. Now, Samsung, as you see, has 5 TVs that are 98 inches or higher, right? This QN990D is the brand new, right, 2024 Samsung Neo QLED. And you see at 98 inches, this is their flagship, but 98 inches, it's still starting at $15,000, okay? $15,000. Now, they have this Q80C, which is their 2023 98 inch. This is not mini LED. This is their mid-range. So this one here, the QN90, is a mini LED, top of the line, flagship 4K TV, 15 grand. Their mid-range one, as you see now, is way cheaper. It's actually only $5,000. You see here, I don't know if you can see that. I'll zoom in a little bit. But it started out at $8,000, right, when it first debuted. So that was for a mid-range, right? Now over here, this is a 2021. This is a 3-year-old model. This is their top of the line. Again, the 90 QN90 is their top of the line. That's the A. Now we're at D. The A, when it came out, was also $15,000. And now you can technically get it for 10 grand. Now, one thing to note here, though, I talked about how OLED prices aren't going down and all this stuff, right? Well, look at this. This is a flagship from 2021, 3 years ago. 98 inches came out at $15,000. Guess what? In 2024, 3 years later, 98 inches comes out at $15,000. Okay? So this is not just an OLED issue. This is the issue in general with the TV industry. It's the cost to make these TVs are not going down, right? They're not. In fact, they are going up in many cases. So getting the prices down is a universal problem for almost everybody. Again, TCL and Hisense are on their own stuff. I don't know what they're doing. But for almost everyone, getting prices down is really, really difficult, especially at the higher end, okay? And then what you have here, this TV is probably the closest thing we have to the dream of the absolute best technologies that we have today. So this is 2023 model. They call it the QN990C, not the 900C. So the 100 series is their 8K line. And Samsung considers their 8K line their flagship. Even though they're only, mini LED or LED, that's their flagship TV. So for 2024, their flagship is the QN900D, not the 90D and not the S95D, which is their OLED, the QD OLED. They don't consider QD OLED their flagship. They are going all in on the LED front for 8K. And the absolute top of the line for that is their 98-inch 8K mini LED Neo QLED. This is absolutely the ultimate combination of everything, okay? Because most of the 4K, TVs that we see that are 98 inches from everybody, TCL, Hisense, Sony, Samsung, they're all 4K. The only 8K TV that we have in existence that is a mini LED of this size is this TV right here. So this is the dream. And guess what? The dream is super expensive. Remember, that 97-inch OLED from LG, OLED, right, 97 inches was 25 grand. And you're like, whoa, and I showed that to you guys. And I was comparing it to like the 98-inch flagships from TCL and Hisense. But I wanted to show you guys, it's not just an OLED problem that's expensive, right? The TV is $40,000. The only difference here over that LG OLED is the 8K, which again is extremely limited. There's no content. You're barely going to notice that. It's basically upscale 4K. And that's definitely not worth 15 grand more over that OLED. Getting OLED picture quality at that size, you can't really beat that. And this is the closest thing you have, and it's way more expensive, right? This TV has been out since last year. The price, again, as you see, has not gone down, and it won't, right? This is a premium product. I believe they're going to basically come up with a new version of this with this model year with the D. I believe I saw that, but no word on it quite yet. So that's what we have. I just wanted to show you guys that this is not just unique to OLED. These premium TVs, especially at that size, are still super expensive. Now, I talked about TCL and Hisense. So TCL, as some of you may have heard, are going in this year. I talked about how they're jumping the gun a lot. They are leapfrogging by several factors, even their flagships from 2023. Of course, TCL's big gun for this year. They're touting this huge 115-inch TV. I saw the TV at CES this year. I was at CES. I saw the TV in person. 115 inches. Monster TV. Of course, they're throwing in all kinds of numbers. I believe you kind of can see there 20,000 dimming zones, 5,000 nits. Again, their current flagship of this year topped out at around 1,500 nits. So they're going from 1,500 nits to 5,000 nits. That's insane. And 20,000 dimming zones. Now, TCL, yeah. Is this TV going to be cheap? They haven't officially announced the price yet, but we can expect this TV to go. They said it's going to be expensive. It's probably going to be around 20 grand. And that makes sense, right? 115 inches of absolute top level quality. Remains to be seen what all of those numbers really mean in terms of what you see in terms of the actual picture. But it's going to be about 20 grand for sure, right? If you want the biggest TV that money can buy, this will probably be it. If you really love LEDs, the numbers here, the game is, these numbers are higher than anything Samsung and Sony and LG are touting for mini LED by far, even though those are the premium brands. That's the point here. They're leapfrogging them. And I can tell you also that it may debut at 20 grand, but typical TCL, by next year, Super Bowl time, this TV is going to be on sale probably for closer to $10,000. That's what they do, right? They somehow they just undercut and they keep pushing it down. So closer to 10. I'm not saying it will be 10, maybe 12, I don't know, maybe 14, but it will be down quite a bit from the initial price. That's the key here. Whereas Samsung and Sony and LG for OLED, the top stuff, they're not going to drop. They don't have the margins to drop. They're just not going to do that. Okay, similarly, here's Hisense. They're competing with TCL directly. Sorry for all the ads on this page. It's typical web stuff. But I just wanted to show you mini LED, 110 inches. The numbers are even higher, 40,000 local dimming zones, 10,000 nits of brightness. These kind of numbers were just unheard of, not even dreamed about, and at least in this time frame, even 2 or 3 years ago. There's no way we thought that there would be a TV on the market in 2024 that can do 10,000 nits. Now, can it really do 10,000 nits? We got to see what, when the measurements come out and the TV's out and is being reviewed. But Hisense, again, pushing the numbers, pushing the technology, they're state of the art. Again, how expensive is the TV going to be? They haven't officially announced it, but I can tell you the word is, and I was at CES again, saw the TV, I heard the reps talk. It's going to be about the same price as that TCL. It's going to be around 20 grand for sure. No less than 15, but probably closer to 20. Again, not a cheap TV, right? But typical Hisense and TCL, I do expect that it will drop faster than what we've seen from the other premium brands. All right, so there you have it, guys. Like I said, I wanted to get this in before the TV season really kicks off. We're days and weeks away from a lot of reviews to start coming through, especially from like Samsung and LG TVs. Sony will be later. TCL and Hisense are kind of scattered. They'll probably be like closer to the like summertime, May, June for a lot of their stuff. But we're going to start seeing Samsung and LG stuff coming through pretty fast here. So is OLED dead? I guess what I wanted to try to say here is to add more context. If OLED dies, it's not going to be because of the quality, for sure. And I really wanted to drive home that the quality of the OLED image and TV, even the feature set and what it brings for gaming, for movies, everything, as you see. I mean, objectively speaking, now everyone is going to have their opinion, and OLED may not be the best choice for everybody, absolutely. And of course, when you add in the value proposition, mini LED and LED are going to look better for sure. I have 4 TVs total in my house. 3 of them are LCD or LED. Okay, because for my bedroom, for my living room, that's in a big open area, lots of ambient light. And I'm not critically watching it. LED is fine, no question. Every use cases matter, and use cases are different. Budgets matter, of course. Now, from my main, and you guys have seen on this channel, my main kind of home theater, basement, man cave setup, if you want to call it that. That TV that's not in the bright room, that's my main screen that I game a ton on, that I watch movies on, that has to be OLED. Like, I cannot go LED on that. I can see the difference clearly. Even my wife can see the difference. She's, baby, you watching this, you've seen it. She's seen it. She noticed it with her eyes. So For that, OLED just it's OLED or death. Like, at this point now, that could be micro LED later because micro LED is going to be the new premium for sure. But for today, I don't care what dimming zones and mini LED have, and everyone that's in the TV business knows this. I've talked to various influencer folks and people that are really active on this stuff. I was at CES. I've talked to folks there. Most people are going to know and say that no matter what, you're not going to get the LED to equal the quality of an OLED. You can get really close. You can get close enough depending on what your eyes and what your needs are. Absolutely, right? Why would OLED die? It's going to just come. I mean, we're talking sales here. We're talking bottom line. We're talking money. And the bottom line is, as you see, the big ultra large 98 inches, 100 inches, 100 plus inches are going to be the thing, right? That all manufacturers are moving towards, that consumers are moving towards. OLED TV sales are flatlining. And last year, they actually were declining. Mini LED is actually recuperating a lot of the market share that it lost to OLED, if that makes sense. And again, just because bigger for cheaper while increasing quality to be good enough. Good enough, larger size, lower price. Right? It's a win-win. Sony and Samsung are both calling their flagship TVs for 2024 mini LEDs. They both make flagship OLEDs. They both actually are investing in QD OLED, which is considered the creme de la creme of image quality you can get today. But they still both consider their flagship TVs to be mini LED. Think about that for a minute. Right? LG pretty much skipped LED TVs last year, 2023. They're obviously going heavily on their OLED, which makes sense. That's been their money maker. That's been their bread and butter. They're getting back into LED this year. They have a whole new line of LED TVs. They kind of went back and reworked their LED TVs. In fact, they have a new mini LED TV. And they have a 98-inch LED TV that they're releasing this year, which they never have had, right? So they're getting the memo, right? And a lot of companies are like, OLED? LG is like the real trooper here for OLED. But again, they're not going to be able to do it alone, for sure. And they're not going to be able to get prices down by themselves. Could we see a place where, again, Sony and Samsung, I can see them kind of just dropping OLED. Samsung only just got into OLED. They were going years with only LED. And Sony, again, are adopting Samsung and LG technologies. They're not doing OLED themselves. So, yeah, they can, hey, we go all in on LED. Why not? It would be LG probably will be the last soldier standing for the OLED front, if anything. And they won't let it go easily. Especially since their LED market isn't very, their market share isn't very great. But I could see, not overnight, not next year, but 5 years from now, micro LED will be coming on. Getting down in price will be much more of a thing, much more of a practical thing for the high end. Again, there are other new OLED technologies that may come out between now and then that could increase the quality of OLED, sure. But again, it's not a quality issue, right? OLED is already great quality. Yeah, it's an interesting thing to say. But if it does die, if OLED ever did die, it would be a sad day. And I personally would not be happy, to see that. OLED has held me down for a while. It was the most excited I have been for TV technology. When I first got OLED, it blew me away. And I've just been on board ever since. So micro LED can do that at some point. We'll see. But, if OLED dies, it will be an absolutely sad day. Let's hope that does not happen. At least doesn't happen in the near future. Technologies, evolve and things happen. But, hopefully we can ride an OLED for at least another 10 years or so, right? It goes to be improvements along the way. But I still want to see some OLED, right? All right, so that's all. Let me know what you think. What do you think? Should OLED die? Do you care about OLED? Is mini LED enough for you? What is your most exciting TV of the year to look forward to if you're into this stuff? Hisense TCL Monsters LED. Is it the new LG G4, which is looking really, really good? Is it, the new QD OLEDs from Samsung or Sony? Let me know in the comments. I'll look forward to talking to you. Till next time, True Techno Gamer, signing off.